The Kowloon Walled City is straight out of a sci-fi film. Located in Hong Kong, it's your worst nightmare, as anywhere you walk, you constantly feel more and more claustrophobic. In the year 1990, almost 50,000 people lived here, as it was considered the most densely populated place on planet Earth. Crime just rid this place with constant chaos, as it was a lawless community, from prostitution, drugs, and even gambling. Fortunately, in 1994, the whole thing was demolished. But before then, you were living in a modern-day hell on Earth. And its roots go all the way back to 1839 during the First Opium War. Because China lost the war to the British Empire, it had to surrender a portion of Hong Kong. And that's when the walled fortress, known as Kowloon Walled City, was created. Many decades later, as World War II happened, thousands of refugees fled there. In the 50s and 60s, it became known as the squatter's paradise for all the low-level people. Being extremely dense, populated, and more wrongfully architected buildings rose to the sky. Sandwiched in an awkwardly position, all the buildings were congested together. First of all, if you lived there, you had little to no sunlight, especially inside your apartment. The buildings were so close to each other that it was later nicknamed the City of Darkness. Imagine 350 tightly packed buildings with 10,700 houses. Wires, cables, metal pipes, and concrete walls everywhere you would look at. Even if you weren't claustrophobic, you would be now if you visited Kowloon. And it was ridden with mice. Anywhere you would walk in multiple alleys, mice would come in and out and walk all over you. First of all, unlicensed doctors and dentists would offer their services for a high bargain. And you would find strip clubs, brothels, gambling, and much more crime. Every desire you had could be satisfied here, as criminal activity was a complete norm. It was a city within a larger city, as the police and government were nowhere to be found. And the city had its own rules and regulations, and you better make sure you wouldn't get yourself into trouble, because no one would be there to help you. Fortunately, towards the end of its era, its inhabitants realized that this would all soon come to an end, and their days were numbered. They knew that because of the high amount of crime, the government, sooner or later, would come to close this place. And in January 14th, 1987, news came out in the media that the government of Hong Kong would quickly demolish and redevelop the so-called city. Within 400 days, officials from the Hong Kong Housing Department literally knocked on each and every door to survey its inhabitants. They wanted to make sure they knew the exact number of residents that would go in and out of this place each and every day. And collectively, that year, they counted 33,000 residents had occupied the city. Within a couple more years, the Hong Kong government created a compensation plan to fairly pay out all the residents and aid them in moving out. But many didn't give in to it. It got so bad that at one time, the riot police was sent to evict each and every person. And when this was done, they brought in the wrecking balls to completely demolish the city. And on April of 1994, they completed their task. Please comment below if you ever lived in the city of Kowloon, how your experience was, and if you want to see more videos just like this, click on the videos right above the screen. And remember people, always be enlightened.